Now once we're at the Forms Designer, the first thing that we need to do is we can see here that this button is 80 pixels by 25, and I think our image was 24 by 24. I might be wrong there. If I am, we'll change that in a moment. So we'll just change that to 24 by 24. Now obviously the save doesn't work very well, but that doesn't matter. We'll just go into the properties for the button, and we need a push button bitmap entity. Now we can either create the entity here, or you can do that from within the application manager by going create entity. So we'll just go create entity now, and we'll browse for the entity. Well, not actually browsing for the entity, we're browsing for the image that we want to use. That was in clinic data, images, and within here, if I change this to PNG, then I'll have my button save image. The entity name changes to be the same. I'm happy with that, and it gives us the location, and I don't need that to be transparent. If you did have transparent bitmaps, then obviously you'd need to set that. So okay there. The number of images that we're using on this particular button is 3. Now the reason we've got 3 is we've got 3 different states. We've got the normal button, the button depressed, and the button disabled. If you've got mouse over in your application or any other different states, then you might need more images. And as you can see in here, there are lots and lots of different options. You can go up to 6 or more, but 3 is good enough for us. And we'll clip rather than resizing the picture on our button, because we can resize the button accordingly. You can see here actually that the button isn't quite lined up. So what I'll do is I'll just move that up at the moment, a couple of pixels, so 24 by 22, and we've now got our button with this little graphic on there. Obviously you wouldn't have these two side by side, you'd then go in and have a close button again with another graphic. But if we just test run that, and yes, then you can see that we've got our button, and if we were to click on there, it goes to a different state, and then if we come off of that, then it will actually save the record for us. Now that's given us a little bit of behavior that we might not have wanted, because would we really want somebody to save a record without putting any data in there? Probably not. So let's go ahead, we'll close out of here, and let's just go and fix that particular behavior. Now the first thing we're going to do is double click it, and we'll set it to disabled. So what that means is when we then test run the form, it's initially disabled. We can't do anything with it. It seems a bit strange that you can't save. You could go up to the file menu and hit the save button there. So again, we'd need to disable this. That's another part of the tidying up in the application that we would need to do. But in this instance, we're just looking at the button and we now can't save. So that's good. But then when we tab over and we start to enter in our new name, then we've still got the problem, because now we want to save but the button's not enabled. So let's go ahead and set that up right now. No, we're not going to save the changes. Now what we're going to do is it's initially set as disabled, and for reasons that no real apparent reason, this might or might not be the right way to do this, but for me what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide that when the user comes off of the hospital number, they have either entered a new number in which case we want to read that record, or they've tabbed off of it using the record ID that was already there. So what we'll do is we'll go into the properties, into the events, and I'm going to decide that on the lost focus event for this particular control, then we're going to have a script. We'll just put a few comments in here so that we know what this is going to do, and basically what it's going to do is to enable the save button when the record is opened or created. Now there would obviously be a lot more buttons that you might want to do, but for now we've just got this one, so that's fine. So the first thing that we're going to need to do is to declare a subroutine, which is set underscore property, and then we're going to set the property for that particular button. and we'll enable it, and we'll set that to 1. So what we're saying here is set property, the control, so our window concatenated to the control name btn_save, and we're going to set the enable property to 1, 1 being enabled, and then return 0. So we'll just compile that, make sure the syntax is correct, come out of there, yes, happy with that, happy with that, and happy with that. And then the other thing that we're going to want to do is on the click event for the button itself. So let's go into there, and at the moment we've chosen this quick event to write the row. Well, I'm going to clear that because I don't want to actually have the quick event running. I want to have a little bit more control. So again, we'll go into the scripts for this particular control, and in this instance what we're going to be doing is we're going to enable the save button, and we're going to write the record. Actually, I think I just said that incorrectly. We're going to disable the save button and write the record. So the first thing we're going to do is to declare our subroutine, which is set_property, and then we're going to set property for the control, again this is our btn_save button, and the same property, except this time it's going to be a 0. So set property at window concatenated to the control name enabled, and we're going to set that to false so that it is not enabled. And then what we want to do is we want to call the send event to write that record. So we'll send this to at window, and we'll send the write event to the window. And if we then just compile that code, we've got an issue. So we'll just go in here and change that to a bracket, which might be a little bit better, and this time we get the syntax is correct. So we'll come out of there, update the event handlers, OK and OK, and then we'll test run the form, save the changes,